Just as India was about to open up to international travel, the threat of the Omicron variant has now haunted the government of India. India has decided to put on hold its decision to resume international flights from the 15th of December. New guidelines for travelers coming into force, but there is chaos and confusion across airports. Aishwarya Paliwal and Vidya report.
The invisible enemy is back in a scarier avatar with over 30 mutations. Amid Omicron threat, centre and states are rushing to contain the mutant. In a mega move, the centre has put brakes on full resumption of international flights. Aviation watchdog DGCA, which fixed 15th of December as the date for restarting international flights, said it is watching the situation and a new date will be notified in due course. Maharashtra has made 7-day institutional quarantine mandatory for flyers from at-risk nations. Flyers will be tested 3 times on the 2nd, 4th and 7th day of their arrival. All positive passengers will be shifted to the hospital. Negative passengers will be further subjected to a 7-day home quarantine. Intra-state flyers need full vaccination or recent negative RT-PCR test. For interstate flyers, negative RT-PCR is must.
There are more than 50 booths that have been put up where RT-PCR tests are being done. Apart from that, there's a waiting lounge for people to wait in where, if the testing really takes a while, they'll be asked to wait. Also, for people who have connecting flights, if they are in transit, then for them also antigen tests have been put in place.
The Narendra Modi government, however, is upset with Maharashtra issuing guidelines that are different from those framed by the centre. It has urged the Maharashtra government to revise its guidelines. Checks imposed by other states are mostly in line with centre's guidelines. Delhi has made testing mandatory on arrival. If the report is negative, then the passenger will be subjected to a home quarantine for 7 days and get tested again. All positive flyers will be admitted to hospital.
There is a separate room in the airport which has been made where all the passengers coming will be asked to sit. The test will be done and they'll have to wait till the time the result does not come. Now, typically, the result takes anywhere between 5 to 6 hours, which means that your flight will take you longer to come out of the airport.
The new norms spell hassle for flyers who are now made to wait for hours for test results and brave long queues at airports.
कोई गाइडेंस नहीं थी हमको कि आपको पीसीआर टेस्ट कराना है और नहीं तो हम लोग पहले ऑनलाइन बुक करा के आते हैं। उसके बाद 2 टेस्ट हैं यहाँ पे, एक है नॉर्मल टेस्ट और एक है रैपिड फायर। नॉर्मल टेस्ट वो ले रहे हैं 8 घंटे और जो रैपिड फायर है वो 1 घंटा बोल रहे हैं, बट 1 घंटे में किसी को रिपोर्ट दी नहीं। तो अंदर काफ़ी लोग परेशान हो रहे हैं कि बच्चों के साथ छोटे बच्चे वेट नहीं कर पा रहे, बस खाने को कुछ नहीं है।
The WHO, meanwhile, opposed blanket travel ban, calling them ineffective to curb the virus threat. With Vidya and Aishwarya Paliwal, Bureau Report, India Today.
My next newsmaker, Rajesh Tope, Maharashtra's health minister, joins us. Mr. Tope, I know you're deep in Jalna, but really this is becoming now a big issue because the centre has written to the Maharashtra government, you can't have separate rules for travellers. You can't have RT-PCR tests for domestic travellers when the rest of the country doesn't. You can't have mandatory institutional quarantine when the rest of the country doesn't for international travellers. What is going on? Why is Maharashtra having its own rules now? Are you so spooked by Omicron?
Rajdeep, as you know, actually the Maharashtra state has always been on the top list of the numbers infected, also in all the parameters, in all the actually the quantum which Maharashtra has experienced in wave first and second. The entire country has witnessed about that. One thing is very clear. Yes, we had issued a notification and order under the Disaster Management Act, and our Chief Secretary has issued an order by virtue of that act, the powers which has been conferred on with them. The point of difference is that yes, we have in the passengers traveling interstate, they had to undergo or they have to undergo the RT-PCR mandatory. That is one of the hardship which the passengers has to face. But of course,
No, why only Maharashtra?
we should.
Why only Maharashtra? The center is saying Maharashtra cannot frame its own rules. What is your view? Will you review it? Or why are you insisting on RT-PCR if I am double vaccinated and I want to come to Mumbai?
Yeah, absolutely. You are right, and we will be reviewing it. We had actually, after issuance of the order, we have deferred it at present, and we will be amending it as we will fall in line with whatever the other states are, or we will fall in line as per the government of India.
You're giving us a very big news point which we should flash. You're saying Maharashtra will defer the rules and you will fall in line with the rest of the country. Am I to understand, therefore, that for now at least you're keeping these guidelines on hold of RT-PCR and institutional quarantine?
No, not all, I mean to say, but the interstate actually is a hardship for everyone to do the RT-PCR test for every citizen flying from Delhi to Mumbai and from Mumbai to Bangalore.
Right.
So all these passengers will be facing a lot of hardship. So I think that is really a point which needs to be amended.
Right.
And so I had spoken to the Chief Secretary. Our Honorable CM is in the hospital at present, and so he has also spoken to the Honorable CM. And we are 100% amending that hardship clauses which has been mentioned in the orders issued yesterday.
That is an important news point, Mr. Tope, that you've given. I appreciate your joining me. I know you've been moving from one wedding to the other in your home district of Jalna this evening, but you've come and told us very importantly that you're saying Maharashtra for now is not going to go ahead with that big announcement that was made that RT-PCR tests would be mandatory for all passengers entering Mumbai 48 hours before they arrive there. Thanks very much for joining me. Big news coming in there from the Maharashtra Health Minister, Mr. Dr. Rajesh Tope. Appreciate your joining me now.